Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy, YBP Gang, YBP Nation, YBP Boxing, YBP MMA. Coming at y'all with a late night video breaking down CANELO versus JERMELL, CHARLO for the undisputed, 168 belts. I think that's super middleweight for all of CANELO's belts. Big fight this weekend, September 30th, I believe it is. I'll try to do a live stream for the fight. Should be fun, should be electric. But yeah, this is gonna be my prediction. I mean, if you've seen the title, I think CHARLO. Okay, I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know what I'm gonna title this video. Like, whether it's gonna be knockout or decision. Cause like, if I say like he knocks him out, like it's gonna get hella views, But like, I want to be an honest man, So, but I think CHARLO, if he does win, it's hard for me to see a scenario where like CHARLO wins a decision. So I think I kind of have to pick him to knock out CANELO, which is like so unforeseeable. It's so like unfathomable. I think I butchered that. Unfathomable. I don't think have we seen like CANELO even get rocked? I don't even know. We've seen, him get dominated, over the course of fights, but not like, wobbled, or not to my knowledge at least. So this would be a first, but there's this thing. I mean, I was in the MMA spaces. They were talking about one of these fights, like Chavez and Lacerda. How I'm rambling, but I'm about to get to a point. They were saying pretty much that just because something hasn't happened, in a long time, doesn't increase or decrease the chances of it happening the next time. There's a word for that, but basically they were saying Lacerda and Chavez, they could come together and put together, a fight that goes to the second round, goes to the third round. And just because, this and that, you got to look at the styles. You got to look at stuff that happens not based off of previous results. But so I think CHARLO, he has a decent chance of getting the knockout. I mean, why I think he just wins. First of all, I think CHARLO's probably one of the better athletes that CANELO's fought. He's going to be the bigger guy in there, despite moving up 2 weight classes. That's what I've heard from like a lot of experts when they talk about the fight. CHARLO, I mean, he's huge. I honestly think you even look at CANELO. CANELO's even talked about it himself, saying that he's kind of huge he's kind of, undersized. He probably should be fighting at 160, but he fights at 168. He makes it work, obviously, with the muscle mass, but he's undersized for that division, And CHARLO, JERMELL, he's fighting at a weight class where, 154, that's probably not where he should be fighting. He's a little bit of a weight bully there. But he's a huge guy. I think in the matchup he'll be bigger. As far as who hit harder, I think CHARLO's power can carry over to 168, honestly. Yeah, I mean, and adding on, I guess, to all this stuff, CHARLO's power, his athleticism, he can come on late in fights, where I think CANELO, sometimes we can see him fade a little bit. It sort of depends, but because, the Plant fight, but where he got the finish late, Plant kind of faded, but CANELO can fade too a little later in the fights. But CHARLO, he loves to come on strong, in those last 3 rounds, last, 4 or 5-ish rounds. I think if CHARLO can stay in the fight, you look at rounds like 10, 11, 12, those are some rounds where like CANELO should be a little worried, and not to mention, I think the biggest thing I'm looking at really is just CANELO's the track record that he's been fighting since he's like, I think like 16, 17, 15, like he's, not the age, because a lot of people will say, oh, he's 34, like this is I saw someone on Twitter say that, it said, oh, he's 34, like this is the age where a lot of athletes start to decline. Like, it's not the age. He could be 30, but it's the fact that he's been fighting for such a long time, since he was a young kid, has all those, that has the track record, has the miles, that not a lot of 34-year-olds have. on their record. You know, it's some of it's experience, but you know that has to take a toll at some point. You know, and I think Charlo's the perfect guy to come out here and you know, be part of this perfect storm that comes together to defeat a guy like Canelo. It's there's also, you know, a lot of intangibles too. I've heard people talk about, you know, with this being the first fight of Canelo's 3-fight deal with PBC. So I was honestly shocked to see that Canelo was only a minus 400 favorite. You know, I was expecting maybe like minus 600 plus 500 or something around those range, but no. I mean, Charlo's plus 300. Live, definitely a live dog, but I wish he was a, you know, bigger underdog. But there seems to be some people think, you know, something's brewing, something's cooking here, and you know, something's possible. But you'd have to think though, Canelo Crawford is probably what they want to move towards, probably the money fight. You know, Charlo's going to need to get the JERMELL. Charlo's going to have to get the knockout, I think, in this case, or win like 10 rounds. You know, he's not going to, you know, because what I could easily see a scenario where maybe Charlo wins 7-5 and they don't give it to him, you know. It's just, it's the business, you know. We've seen a lot of robbery. We saw robbery this weekend with the women's fights. A lot of dispute of it's part of, you know, boxing at this point, but I'm not too confident in my plays. Obviously, I mean, the other side of it, you know, Canelo's, you know, 2 weight classes heavier. He has all this experience, you know, that could, as much as you could say it could be to a detriment, you could say that's a positive. You know, he's been in these big moments. He's been in the main event. It'll be, well, no, this is in Vegas, I think, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, he seems to always show up in these big moments, these big fights. Packs a punch too, you know. Has a physicality in there. I mean, Canelo, he's a betting favorite for a reason, you know. So I'm not too terribly confident in my pick. I think really the fight, but I think the fight's a lot closer than you know, people are making it out to be. I'm hearing people say Charles gonna get ran through. You know, he's just gonna, you know, he might get knocked out himself. You know, I think it's a pretty close competitive fight for as long as it lasts. You know, I think honestly, it could go to a like end in a finish. You know, I'd love to see that. That would be a, you know, interesting thing to see. You know, Charlo looks for the finish. You know, he puts himself in harm's way to get finished. Canelo, I mean, he didn't finish Triple G and he didn't finish John Ryder. So I don't know. Some people were saying he was fighting to the level of his competition. So if he fights to the level of his competition, you know, up against, you know, a guy like JERMELL Charlo, that I feel like that suits his style to win. You know, you play his game, you know, you're gonna end up having to start over, you know. Have to reboot your lives and stuff. So, you know, nonetheless though, I think it'll be a good fight, but I gotta go for, you know, JERMELL Charlo. But Canelo's the rightful favorite, you know, for a reason. But I think JERMELL Charlo has a good chance with the athleticism, you know, his movement, you know, in the ring too. I think he'll be the faster guy in there. We'll see, but like I think he could have more power too. He's gonna be the bigger guy in there. I think he can come on late and give Canelo a bunch of problems if Canelo can't get him out of there in like maybe the first, like, if the fight's competitive and they're going into like 10, 11, 12, like I like Charlo by like knockout in like 11th or something like that. I like that, you know. Even like knockout in like those last 4 rounds, like 9, 10, 11, 12, I like that for Charlo. So give me him by specific round. Charlo by 9th round. No, that's too early. Nah, it would probably be 11th. JERMELL Charlo by 11th round. TKO. Ref has to stop stepping. Yeah, that's all I really got for y'all today, though. Leave a like on the video, subscribe. Peace out, Moscow. You already know what it is. Boo!